Morning folks. Well, we're off for another day down on the Kiwifruit. This time it's about thinning, which you'll get a chance to see when we go down in a minute. As you can see, it's another glorious day in paradise. Hope you're not freezing too much back there in Blighty. But, just know we're thinking of you and looking forward to an early thaw for you. Well, here we are a couple of months after pollination, and as you can see, the fruit is now fairly plentiful and a lot of it is growing into a good size. However, we've got a couple of little problems that have to be dealt with. The amount of fruit on the vines at the moment is absolutely massive. The first type of fruit that needs to be thinned off is this kind of thing. It's about the size of a large quail egg or whatever. You can see between the finger sizes there that it's pretty tiny. That's never going to grow to anything worthwhile, and the vine's just going to waste energy trying to make it grow. So we just take it firmly between the fingers there, flick off the stalk and toss it away. Other types of fruit, a fruit like this that's got little sort of rot or mould marks on them, they need to come off. Round to weirdly mutated fruit like this one, you can see where you've actually got sort of 2 or 3 flowers have bonded together and the fruit's gone a bit crazy. It's perfectly okay, but there's no market for it. We also get fruit like this with a kind of a little bit of a stripe down the middle, quite often ending with a little gnarl at the bottom. You can see there where my thumb is. Nobody really knows what causes this. This is what's called a Hayward's mark, named after the variety of the kiwifruit. But again, it's that imperfect line there, no market for it, so it's got to come off. And along the way here we also find the remnants of a few flowers like the one I just flicked off there that didn't really get pollinated at all. We're not the only ones that like the kiwifruit. Quite a lot of birds tend to nest up in here as well, as you can see from an old nest here. What you've got to do is prod your fingers in very gently to see if there's any eggs. There isn't in this one, so that's got to come out as well. Sorry guys, you need to find new digs. We're also looking to thin out parts of the canopy. What we should have, as you can see down here, is this nice dappled light effect through. That indicates that we're getting light through the canopy, and the light hits the ground, bounces back up into the kiwifruit and helps the ripening process and helps the sizing up of them. But there are little hot spots where the canopy has grown rather thick and there's not enough light getting through, and when we find them we've got to prune them. This is probably a half reasonable example for you. You can see there's hardly any dappling on the light on the ground, and when we look up into the kiwifruit canopy you can see it's fairly dense in there. A lot of leaf, a lot of small creepers and vines which need to be trimmed out. That's what we're looking for. As always, we're looking for things that also get in the way of the mower. And we wanted to get rid of some of these as well, so anything that hangs down in the middle of the road like that, unless it's got a lot of fruit, we want to lop off. The technique we normally use is to go backwards and forwards a couple of times in a bay. A bay starts from one of these posts and goes down to a vine to the next post, and then we turn across the row to the opposite post and go back to the point of origin at the beginning of the bay. we quite often get a lot of stuff that's borderline. It's big enough that you don't immediately want to flick it off, but still rather small, so you kind of have to use your best judgment in terms of size. That one probably lived to see another day. Yeah, it's one of those jobs that when you first started is, yeah, it's great, you're working outdoors and it's interesting work and it's a bit of a novelty, and by the time you've done 4 or 5 rows, about a 10%, 12% of the block, now the novelty's worn off a little bit and it becomes a bit of a slog through to, well, to the end really. You just sort of keep hacking away at it, 3, 4 rows or more a day, what you can manage. It's pretty pleasant down here at the moment. It's about 9:30, 9:45, and nice and cool, especially under the canopy, and it'll be like that again in the afternoon. But in the middle of the day it gets pretty hot. It can get up to sort of 31, 32 degrees Celsius in the shade. Yesterday was really muggy, so it kind of wipes you out a little bit. So we sort of tend to get up early, get a few rows done, and take a siesta in the middle of the day. And of course you invariably get covered from head to foot in the remnants of the kiwifruit flowers. And then you get little clusters like this, which are caught up in the dark canopy. This is part of the reason why we clip them out, that, well, to be frank, they pretty much all have to be gone. And that's all she wrote. Yeah, this is quite a common situation. You've got sort of 2 kiwifruit coming off the same central vine, one off the main stem and one off a kind of secondary branch there. And the one on the secondary branch tends to be the smaller one, so that's the one that comes off. And by the time we're done, we end up with something that changes from this. Here's something that looks a bit more like this. And if I sort of walk down the row a little bit here, you'll get an idea of just how many fruit fail to meet the grade. Literally hundreds of them. And that's another row out of the way. We've almost done 80% of them. Time for smoko. Not all kiwifruit are created equal. Yeah, just some of the weird oddities that we've plucked off the vine today. Everything from what I would call kind of like almost like a big cartoon dentures, through to what I call Gonzo from the Muppets. There's probably a better one. Through to, well, geez, let's just not go there. Of course, it's not all work and no play. In fact, there's some pretty good fringe benefits. See ya.